What's up, party people, and welcome back to my channel. So today's video is my dry skin foundation routine for dry, combination, acne-prone, textured skin. So I'm taking you step by step from my moisturizer to foundation, cheek products, setting spray, the whole 9 yards. I'm showing it all. But I will say you can't really cover up texture. You can't really cover up a raised bump on your face. It's three-dimensional. You're not going to be able to flatten that out. But I feel like I finally discovered the secret to disguising it the best. So if you're on either side of the spectrum of skin, like if you have super oily skin or super dry skin, then you can always tweak it. Like you can always substitute products out that work better for you. So I just feel like this routine will give you a very good foundation to build from. But first and foremost, before we get started, make sure you subscribe and join my community. It's a great place here. I promise you will not regret it. I have a little subscribe button right here at the corner of the video. Just click that. It'll automatically subscribe you. Very easy, very convenient. And also, if you enjoyed this video by the end, make sure you give it a thumbs up so that I know. And without further ado, if you want to see how I do my face makeup for dry, combination, textured, acne-prone skin, then please keep watching. So first things first, I go in and I kind of do like a little bit of like prepping before my face makeup. So I use a toner. So this is the So Revitalizing Rose Water Mist or Rose Mist. This stuff is a game changer. This is just a rose water spray. So first what I do is go in with the cotton round and just wipe my face down with it. So the reason I do that is because I do my face makeup and all the prepping and priming stages after I do my eye makeup. So usually I have a lot of fallout. I have a lot to clean up. I have raccoon eyes. So this just kind of goes in and cleans all that up and also, you know, gives my skin some benefits from it. This also just removes any residue from the night before. It just removes excess oil. And then because I'm so obsessed with it, I go in and just spray this all over my face. I just feel like when you apply a more generous amount, it just does more. Okay, so for moisturizer, this is so important because if you don't have a good moisturizer, then everything you put on top will just look like complete shart. So the one that I've been using on a daily basis is the Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel with SPF 15. You cannot see it on your skin. It is so lightweight, but yet so hydrating at the same time. But I found the one with SPF in it at Walmart in the clearance section for like $4. So I really hope they're not discontinuing it because I love this stuff. I believe I saw on Ulta this was like $17 normally. Alrighty, so for face primer, I like to stick to the more dewy, illuminating face primers just to kind of kickstart the glow. So I have a few to show you right now. This is the Milani Light Strobing and Pore Minimizing Face Primer. This one's really pretty. I have been using this one most out of everything in my collection. It's oil-free as well. And this one has a really nice like white iridescence to it. There's very, very fine gold micro shimmer particles in here, but it's undetectable on the skin. All it does is just give your skin a really nice like gold undertone, I guess you can say. But here's what it looks like on my skin, and it is white starting out, but I don't feel like this is the type of white where if you have deeper skin, it will actually show up. It just blends into your skin. You can't see it. And then I've also been liking the ones from Amazing Cosmetics. This is the Illuminate Primer and Highlighter. I had the shade Rose Gold and then also Glow. These were actually sent to me from the brand. They just sent me the one in the shade Glow yesterday. I haven't even used this yet, so I think I'm going to use this one today because I know that I like this one because this is the one that Nikki Tutorials uses all the time and it looks so beautiful on her. But the one that I've had for a while is the shade Rose Gold. So there's what Rose Gold looks like. It just has a little bit of like a bronzy tone to it. So let's see what Glow looks like. Oh my god, this one looks just like the Milani one. Is this a dupe? Here's Milani one. Here's the one from Amazing Cosmetics. In person, the Milani one's a little bit more of a white base and the Amazing Cosmetics one's a little bit more of like an ivory. And it's also a little bit thicker. So here's what Glow looks like. But I feel like they look very similar. So I just want to give you a few options. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and apply the one from Amazing Cosmetics in the shade Glow. I don't know why I'm sounding so nasally. Like, I don't feel like I'm sick. I'm a little stopped up, but what's going on? Why doesn't it look as pretty on my skin? It looks so much prettier on Nikki. Alrighty, so the secret that I found when working with dry skin or, you know, any skin type really. My mistake is that I try to go in with full coverage foundations, trying to cover it up. All that does is end up emphasizing everything. And I found that when my skin has a lot of texture or dry skin or I'm trying to cover up a lot, BB creams look the best on my skin, or cushion foundations. But I've been loving the Garnier Skin Active BB Cream 5-in-1 Miracle Skin Perfector. This is the one for oily combination skin. And it's one of those things that every time I use it, it still shocks me. And believe it or not, you can get medium to full coverage out of this. And like I said, I've had this for years, so I put this through a lot of testing. I've tested it through a lot of acne, a lot of breakouts, raised bumps, texture. Like I said, I have large pores. And the way this smooths over the skin, it just kind of minimizes the appearance of everything. It's just an amazing amazing BB cream. It's like $13 or $14, but I will give you a few foundation options just in case those don't work out for you. So, you know, obviously L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, it's marketed as a glowy foundation, so I feel like that one's pretty self-explanatory. One that never gets talked about, and I feel like this is so good. This is the Physicians Formula Touch of Glow Nude Wear Foundation. This stuff is so hydrating and it gives you such a beautiful, natural, glowy, like healthy, radiant finish. It looks gorgeous on the skin. Like there are very few foundations I've tried that look this good. It has amazing coverage, stays on all day long. LA Girl Pro Coverage HD Foundation. This is probably my favorite foundation because it has full coverage and it has such a pretty dewy, glowy finish, but even when I have oily skin, it stays on all day long. Like it doesn't break down or anything. It's very long lasting. Maybelline Fit Me Dewy and Smooth, another amazing one. I did go ahead and wet my sponge. If you have dry skin, I'd recommend using a sponge just because I feel like a brush not only absorbs the luminosity of any foundation or any base that you're using, but it also just kind of, I feel like it disrupts your skin's texture. Also, when dampening your sponge, I recommend using hot water, as hot as you can get. And I know some people will say, oh, hot water will make the makeup clog your pores and sink into your pores and stuff. I don't find that to be the case. I actually find that when I use cold water to dampen my sponge, like the makeup just doesn't sit on my skin very well. It doesn't blend out as easy. A warm sponge just kind of helps melt everything into my skin better. So I'm gonna go ahead and just rub this over my skin with my finger just to kind of lay the base down. Get a little bit on that sponge. I'm using the back of my hand and just press this into my skin. But I feel like the coverage of this is very customizable. It's very buildable. You can layer this and just put layer on top of layer and it never looks cakey or thick or heavy on your skin. It never feels thick and cakey on your skin. All right, so there is the foundation base, and as you can see, it's full coverage. It's covered up everything on my face, but it's not masking my skin. Like you can still see my natural radiance coming through. It's a really pretty natural satin finish, and it just looks really thin and lightweight on my skin. So now it's time to move on to concealer and all of my liquid and cream cheek products. And another quick little tip is to never sandwich your liquids and powders. So what I mean by that, I don't know if that actually makes sense, but what I mean is to always do your liquids and creams first and then use powder. For concealer under my eyes, I don't really feel like this is a big deal. Like I feel like it just kind of depends on what your preference is. So I'm just going to use the Maybelline Fit Me concealer. This is an amazing concealer whether you have oily or dry skin. So moving on to cream products. So I just feel like if you have dry skin, cream products are the way to go. And I feel like a lot of people are scared of cream products or liquid products. If you mess up, all you got to do is go in with your sponge and blend it out. You can go back in with your foundation and, you know, fix any mistakes if it's a little bit too harsh or whatever. Like I feel like they're a lot more forgiving and easier to work with. So for cream bronzer, I'm going to use the Sonia Kashuk Undetectable Cream Bronzer in the shade Warm Tan. This is found at Target. So as you can see, I have really used this stuff up. Like this is such a beautiful formula and a beautiful shade, and it wears beautifully throughout the day. So I'm just going to put this back here, and I'm kind of going for this more like less is more mentality. So I'm not really going to layer it on the way I normally would. I usually pack it on like nobody's business, but we're not going to do that today. We're going to keep it a little bit more natural and just a little bit more like fresh. You can also apply cream or liquid cheek products with your sponge if you're more intimidated by cheek products. Sometimes using a brush is, I don't know, sometimes it takes more technique and skill to use a brush, so just use your sponge and it'll just melt into your skin, so it won't be as scary. And then I'm just going to go back in with my sponge with whatever's left over and just kind of go right under that just to clean it up, because sometimes it looks a little bit muddy and there's not enough definition there. So I'm just going to do that with the forehead as well. So for blush, I've been digging a cream blush, and I actually stole this one from my mom. You can use whatever you can use whatever you have. I don't really have a lot of cream blushes, and also this color is something I don't have in powder blushes. This is the MAC Cream Blend Blush in the shade Ladyblush. It's just a really nude, just muted pink, and it just looks really natural. I can't talk. You can apply this with your finger or a sponge. I'm gonna use the e.l.f. small stipple brush and just start back towards my hairline so I can blend it all around, because if you put it right there, like the most concentration is going to be wherever you first lay your brush down. So I don't like to start in the apples of my cheeks because it'll be too clownish, and I don't want to look like grandma just got back from the circus. For liquid highlighter, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Hello Halo liquid highlighter in the shade Gilded Glow. So here's what that looks like, and I'm just going to put this back towards my hairline again. I'm not going to blend this too far down. Oh, I know what I should have used instead. I should have used the ColourPop Super Shock highlighters. Those are so good and they're so intense. You don't have to go in with a powder highlight on top later. Then just take whatever's left over and go down the bridge of my nose. Basically my T-zone. I've been enjoying a little bit of something right on my chin. But the problem is I've got a lot of texture on my skin. Like when I talk, Like it just kind of wrinkles up and does some weird stuff. So I can't apply too much there. It'll just emphasize all the little weird craters that happen when I talk. Okay, so now for setting powder. So I feel like people with dry skin are really intimidated by setting powder, and I feel like this is something that everyone should use, at least in like targeted areas, like under your eyes or your T-zone or your cheek area, just because I don't really see how people stand it. Like, how do you stand that tacky, sticky feel of your foundation never setting? Like, I can't stand it. This is the Milani Prep Set and Glow Illuminating Transparent Powder. Now, if you have oily skin, you probably want to stay away from this because this will make you look greasy pretty fast. I have to be very strategic with this as well, because if I apply too much in the wrong areas, my skin will look hella greasy. So I'm going to put this, actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use just a regular translucent setting, like a loose setting powder on certain areas of my face, but not apply too much. I'm going to use this Sistar. This is a new brand I'll be talking about pretty soon. This is the It's You Skin Perfecting Finishing Powder. Just use a translucent setting powder. It doesn't really matter what you use. Set under my eyes, my T-zone, my nose. And I'm also going to use this to set underneath my cheek products, like under my bronzer. And also a powder like this, like a Milani one, is really good for setting your cheek area, because if you're using like cream products, then it's not going to take away too much of that luminosity. It's going to keep quite a bit of that. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Milani powder and set very lightly over my cheek products, but kind of avoiding the liquid highlighter, just because if you powder over that, it will lose all of its luminosity. Okay, so now's the time, if you want to go in with your powdered cheek products just to touch up a little bit, you can do that, because sometimes using setting powders on top of creams and liquids will kind of, they'll just lose their vibrancy. So, I mean, I don't really feel like I've lost a whole lot, maybe just a little bit. It's just kind of toned down a bit more, which I think it looks really nice and pretty and natural. But I'll just go in with the bronzer just to show you guys that I'm just not going to apply a lot. I'm going to use this one. I'm testing this one out from Octoly. This is the Becca Sunlit Bronzer in the shade Capri Coast. This one's so pretty, and I hate that I like it as much as I do. I actually use that. That's what's in my crease today. This does have a slight sheen to it. Don't use anything that has too much of a matte finish to it, because then it's just going to be pointless and you're going to look matte. So I'm just lightly dusting this on top of that cream bronzer. So there's that. I'm not going to do anything with my blush because I like the tone of it right now. But I'm going to go in with a powder highlight. So powder highlight's really tricky if you have textured skin, because obviously something with a shimmer or a frost can really emphasize texture and just make it stand out so much more. And, you know, I get texture right through here. Like, normally I don't have any right now, but, you know, not only that, but my pores are, you know, kind of large right through here. So that's where you're applying your powder highlight. So if you use something that's too shimmery or frosty, it'll just emphasize it. But I found a couple of different highlighters that are powders that are more of just a sheen. Like, they're not super shimmery. They just give you a really pretty glow from within, but they're very, very intense if you build them up. So one is a Wet n Wild Mega Glow highlighting powder in the shade Precious Petals. This is my all-time favorite highlighter, and there's no shimmer. It's just a straight up sheen, and one that I've used for so many years. This is the Hard Candy So Baked bronzer in the shade Tiki. This is something that people used to talk about all the time. I need a new one. It's been broken for years, but here's what it looks like. It's like a yellow undertoned champagne kind of color. Now, this is another one that doesn't have shimmer or frost. I'm gonna use the Wet n Wild one, and just very strategically use a smaller brush for this, because sometimes a bigger brush, like a fan brush, can just spread it out too much. But I feel like the emphasizing is very minimal. I mean, obviously it's a highlighter, so it's going to emphasize something, but it's very, very minimal. And if you ever find that a highlighter is just a little bit too intense for you, just go back in with your sponge, just decide that you didn't use any product, and just kind of like dab over that. I'm going to go in with my blush brush with no extra product. I'm just going to kind of, I don't know, just blend underneath that highlight just a little bit. If you need to, you can go back in with your blush and touch up, and that'll just kind of mesh the highlight and the blush together, instead of the highlight kind of sometimes sitting weirdly on your skin. I'm just going to bring that down the bridge of the nose, the Cupid's bow, and just a tad bit on my chin. I just feel like when you highlight the T-zone, it just makes everything look overall more glowy. You gotta be very tedious, because typically we have pores and blackheads and, you know, texture and stuff, so that will be emphasized if you apply too much or go too heavy-handed. But if you just apply a very light amount, I just feel like it brings attention to your entire face being overall more glowy. So I'm gonna put on some lip product real quick, and I'll be right back to show you the finished look. I just used Revlon Color Burst Lip Butter in the shade Peach Parfait. I feel like these are discontinued, but I also see them every now and then, but I love these lip butters. They're so nice. But I almost just forgot what I feel like is the single most important step to finish all this off, and that's setting spray. My favorite setting spray, especially for having dry skin or if you just want more of a glow, is the La Fox Micro Essential Mist Moisture Water. So this was sold at Walmart. This was $12. but I don't see this at Walmart anymore. I feel like they're discontinuing Lala Fox there, but if you can find this, or if you can order it online, this is the best drugstore setting spray I've ever tried. Another option is a Wet n Wild Photo Focus setting spray. This is also really good, but this one is really good for hydration and glowiness. You need a setting spray. Point blank. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray this over my face. That is my routine. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. What are your favorite products and what is your skin type? Leave it in the comments below. And everything I'm talking about will be linked in the description box with magic links, which are affiliate links. So I just wanna disclose that. There is a disclosure statement down there as well, but I just wanna go ahead and tell you guys that's what I'm doing. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Let me know in the comments below what else you wanna see, and I will see you guys in my next one. Mwah.